In this video, I'm going to cover how to use a Raspberry Pi as a DVR to record over-the-air TV stations in the US market. This is a fairly involved project, so I'm going to put timestamps in the video description. I will also put a link to my setup notes if you prefer to read instead of follow a video. And finally, if there are any issues I discover later on, I will post updates in the video description. So if you have problems, make sure you look below because I might have some updated data to solve your issues. Back about a year ago, I purchased one of these WinTV Dual HD TV tuners, and this particular tuner uses the ATSC standard, and so you can use it with US TV stations to record recordings. And what I've done is I've used this in combination with a Raspberry Pi to allow me to record TV broadcasts. This is my setup. I have a Raspberry Pi 4 gigahertz model. I have this WinTV tuner cord plugged into the USB 2 input right here. I have an outdoor antenna connected to it that goes off over here. And then I got a little fan shim on my Pi to cool it if it gets too hot. Actually, I've never noticed it to get too hot, but it's just there just in case. And then I got an Ethernet connection going to it, and that's mainly to keep time. And also, if you want to share it with like Rokus and whatnot, you'll need a Ethernet connection. And then I have this hard drive that I record all the videos on. I chose this particular one. It's a Toshiba USB 2 terabyte hard drive. And the reason why I chose this one, it actually will auto power down. And so it draws very little power when it shuts down. And even when it's running, it's not too much power. But it does draw enough power where when it starts to spin up, it overloads the Raspberry Pi. And so I have this powered USB hub here to power this drive so it doesn't crater the Pi. And then this is plugged into a USB 3 input on the Pi. The remote also comes with a IR remote, but that remote will not work with Linux installations. It only works with Windows 10 machines. But it's not really a big drawback because I actually just have a little wireless mouse dongle plugged into my Pi here, and I basically control the DVR with just a wireless mouse, and that's it. I have a real VNC connection going to my Pi here to show you what the desktop looks like, and this is the program that does the DVR recording. It's called Kaffeine. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but it actually works quite well. And I could go ahead and do it here. The problem is real VNC over to the Pi, it's kind of choppy. And so we're going to go ahead and just open up a separate terminal here to demo it. And so let me go ahead and bring over a terminal window. And so I'm just going to run this program Kaffeine Viva and SSH connection. So let me go ahead and start it here. And so you see it's basically the same interface here, but it works Viva remote this way. Let's go ahead and go to digital TV here and see it starts playing here, and you can hear the sound in the background there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here, and then if you want to make a recording, what you can do is you go over here to the program guide, and you'll see that not all the stations are listed here. And the reason for that is the DVR actually gets its program guide from the TV station itself. So when you want to see what the schedule is, you have to actually play the station a little bit. And then it will show up in this list, and then you could go ahead and see the program guide for it over here. So let's say I want to record something on this channel 18 here. So I'll go ahead and just click it, start playing it. I have to double click it. Yeah. I'll always remember it now. And you can see it's playing here. So let's go ahead and stop that. And now you'll see the channel showed up over here in the guide here. So we could go ahead and select select that, and then here's all the different broadcasts for the day. And it gives you the broadcast for about 8 hours in advance. So let's say we want to record PBS here, News Hour. We just go ahead and highlight it here, and then we hit record show. And it's got a little circle with a red dot around it, meaning we're going to record that now. And then if we want to modify that recording, we go over here to the recordings here, and you'll see it's in our list here, along with another one right here. And I could go ahead and edit that. And let's say I want to record that every weekday because it's on at the same time. I'll just go ahead and check these boxes. Hit OK. And now you'll see it's got a little double arrow thing indicating that it's a repeat thing. It's going to record it every day. Let me go ahead and demo playing an actual program here that we've recorded on my TV itself, so you can actually see it in live. And so I'll just bring up my File Explorer here, and here's a list of programs I recorded. I got ABC News, I got CBS News, I got a paid program I recorded, and then I got video I made myself, and I just put it here on the Pi so I can demo this to you, because I don't want to get into any copyright things of playing somebody else's content. So I'm just going to click on this and you can see how it works, but the other ones work exactly the same. So I thought we'd start off this video by showing the end result of this. And you see it's playing now, and so I can go ahead and double click on it and fill the whole screen. And then I got a little time bar here, and I could actually move it any part of the video I want to. And I could actually even control the volume speed of this web GUI from right here. And then we'll paste in that link. And that's basically it. So you can record your programs. And not only that, we can actually also stream this to like a Roku player. And so let me go ahead and just switch my remote over to my Roku. Let it boot up here. And the app we'll use on our Roku is just the Roku media player. And let's just go ahead and select all media type. And then here's my Pi DVR media server that I've set up. I'll go ahead and click that. We'll go ahead and look at videos here, all videos. And there you go. You see I have those same programs on here on my Roku that I had in the DVR there. So I'm going to go ahead and play that same video I made here. And I'll hit play. I thought we start off this video. And there you go. And we go ahead and scan forward in it and scan back. And it's just like playing any other video. Desktop. If this sounds like something you like to implement yourself, well, you could watch the rest of this video and I can show you how to do it. For purposes of this video, I'm going to be using a Raspberry Pi 4 gigabyte version. And for the tuner, I'm going to be using a WinTV Dual HD tuner. This same company also makes another version which will also pick up analog TV stations. I have not tried this myself though, so this is the one I'm using. For a hard drive, I'm using a Toshiba 2 terabyte external USB 3 hard drive. I chose this hard drive because it auto powers down and draws very little power when it powers down. And then to power that hard drive, it does draw a little more power than with the Raspberry Pi can deliver, so I'm just using a generic USB 3 powered USB hub. And this is the one I'm using here. And then for my fan, I'm using a Pi PIM 461 fan shim. For this project, I'm going to be using the Raspberry Pi OS desktop, the Bullseye edition dated October 30th, 2021. I do not recommend that you use the desktop with recommended software. It's not needed in this case. So just download the desktop version. It has everything you need in it. And so go ahead and download that here. And then burn that to your flash drive and do your initial setup on the Pi. I'm not going to go into details on how to do that. There are plenty of other videos how to do a basic setup on the Pi. So go ahead and download that and do your initial setup. So let's go ahead and check all our settings here. So that's all okay here for display. We want to not have screen blanking. We don't want to have the screen going black on us all the time. Interfaces, we've got those all set there. Performance, I'm going to use the built-in fan controller in the Pi here. And my fan shim that I have on this uses pin 18. And we'll go ahead and have that fan come on when the temperature gets above 65 Celsius. And then localization, locale, let's just check that. UTF-8, that's correct. Time zone, that's correct. Keyboard, that's correct. And Wi-Fi country, that's correct. Okay, hit OK. Now we got to reboot the Pi again. Pi is rebooted now, so we go ahead and do the rest of the setup via SSH. So let's SSH back into my Pi here. Yes, I do want to connect. And my overscan is still not right on my TV. Now it's underscanning a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and modify our config text file in the boot directory to correct that overscan issue or underscan issue. So what we're going to do is we got these 4 lines here. We're going to replace those, uncomment them, and then for my particular TV, I found that these are the correct values, adjusting the overscan on each edge of the TV here. So let's go down here and delete these. And paste in the new values, and then go ahead and hit Control X, and then yes for Y for save, and save back into the file, and then I'm going to go ahead and reboot the Pi again. So let's check if the Pi actually sees our tuner card. So we'll change directory to device/DVB. We'll do a directory listing on that directory. And yes, it sees both tuners. So that's good. Our tuner should work. Now the next thing is I'm using this Toshiba drive here, this USB drive. And I found that I originally reformatted it for ext4 file system because that's what Linux usually uses. But what I found when I did that is this drive would no longer auto power down. So I reformatted to NTFS and now it powers down again. So I'm just going to go ahead and use NTFS for this drive because I want that power down feature on the drive. So, and the other thing, like I said earlier, is this drive draws a little more power than what the Pi can handle when the disk spins up. So I've attached a separate USB power hub on this device here, so to power that hard drive. The next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and mount our USB drive via the FS tab. And the reason for doing that is for several fold. One is it allows us to name that drive to anything we want. Another thing is it allows other users other than Pi to access it, and in particular, minidlna, which is the process we're going to use to stream our videos to a Roku, can only access the Pi if we mount it via the FS tab. Because minidlna uses a username of minidlna, and when you let the Pi automatically mount the drive, it's only the Pi user that can access it. And lastly, it allows our systemd processes that we're going to start up to wait until the drive is mounted before they start up. So let's go ahead and modify our SF tab to mount that USB drive. So the first thing we have to do is we actually need to get the UUID of that USB drive. So we do that by issuing a blkid command, and you can see our USB drive. Let me go ahead and expand this out just a little bit. You can see our USB drive has a UUID of this right here. So what you want to do, whatever that lands up to be here, you're going to want to replace that UUID in place of this UUID down here. And then we're going to want to go ahead and make a backup of our SF tab. Just in case we screw it up, we can go ahead and take the card out of the Pi and restore that file, instead of completely having to reinstall the operating system. And now we'll go ahead and edit that file. And then what we're going to do here is, after our second, we got our two files for the Raspberry Pi OS, and so now what we're going to do is copy this line here that we just modified that UUID to right here. And basically what this is this is specifying the UUID here. Here's where it's going to be mounted at. It's going to be mounted at media/NAS. We're going to auto mount it to whatever file format that drive is written in, which in this case is NTFS. And then this no SUID, that's a security measure. This no device is another security measure. The no fail command here, that will allow the Pi to boot even if the USB drive isn't connected. This next one here will allow us to show this drive in our file manager, and the last one here will allow us to name that drive as NAS. And these last two basically control how debug information is reported, and also in the two here says to mount this drive after the other drives have mounted. So we'll go ahead and hit Control X and hit yes to save that changes, and we'll go ahead and save it back into FS tab, and then we'll go ahead and reboot the Pi. Let's go ahead and SSH back in. So let's go ahead and use PC man FM. to check and see if our drive is mounted here. And you can see here we have our NAS drive mounted right here. And we can actually eject it from here too. And then if we go down here to media, we see we have a couple of folders here. These are basically NTFS files. This is the warranty for the drive. And then I've created this directory called videos. That's where we're going to have our Pi put all the videos at. So let me go ahead and get out of that there. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and find the unit name for our USB drive. And that unit name will be used in our systemd processes to delay starting those processes until the drive is mounted. So we go ahead and issue this system control list units -- type equals mount command here. And we can see our NAS drive here, our media/NAS drive, has a unit name of media-NAS point mount. And you want to write that down because you're going to need that a little bit later here. Next, we're going to install Kaffeine. And this is the DVR software, the tuner DVR software that allows our Pi to record over-the-air broadcast. So next we'll install the program, and this program is actually in the repositories. You don't need to go out on the internet and download it. So we'll go ahead and install it. And we'll type in yes to install. It's 105 megabytes, so it's a pretty big program. Okay, that's installed now. So the next thing we want to do is create a systemd process to automatically start this when the Pi starts up. So we'll go ahead and create this systemd service here. And we just take all of this and copy it into this file here. And if you notice here, here's that unit command that we got before, the media-nas.mount. And what this is telling it is don't start this process until after this drive is mounted. So when you find what your unit name is, you want to change it to what this value to whatever you found with that previous command. And then the other things here is we're going to use a username of Pi for running Kaffeine, and then we're going to, if you accidentally exit it, it will automatically restart the program after 60 seconds. And so we'll go ahead and hit Control X. We'll go ahead and hit yes to save it, and then enter to write it back. And now that's done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to enable this process, and we do that by first reloading the daemons. So we'll do sudo system control daemon reload, and then we'll go ahead and enable this service, this Kaffeine service. It's enabled, and then we'll go ahead and reboot the Pi. Okay, our Pi is rebooted, and you can see it has started this Kaffeine program here. Let's go ahead and use real VNC to log back into this. Normally you'd just be doing this from the TV directly, but so I can film this, I'm going to do this through real VNC. Okay, our Pi is rebooted, and our Kaffeine program is now auto-started all by itself here. And so let's go ahead and set it up. But first, what we need to do is create a file to go ahead and put these video files in. and we'll type in sudo make directory /media/NAS/videos. We'll go ahead and create that directory. Oh, I misspelled media. And it made that directory, so we go ahead and open up our file manager and go to our NAS drive. We now see we have a folder called videos. Nothing in there right now, but we have a folder there. So let's go ahead and set up our tuner now. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on this digital TV icon here and bring that up. Actually, just click it once. I clicked it twice accidentally. Let's go ahead and expand this out here. And then we're going to go up here to television, configure, and then we're going to change our recording and our time shift folder to that directory we just created on our USB drive. So we'll go up here, go to our root, and then go to media, and then NAS, and then we'll click on this videos. And then we'll do the same thing here. And then the next thing here, we go to Device 1 tab, change our source to US ATSC Center Frequency 8 VSB for the US, that is. And we'll do the same thing for Device 2. And click OK. So next we're going to go ahead and scan for our channels here. And we do that by clicking on this icon here. And that brings up our channels. And we're going to go ahead and start scan here. But before I do that, let me go ahead and unzoom. So let's go ahead and start our scan. And scanning, this will take a while, so let me bring up a stopwatch here and we'll see how long this takes. Okay, that only took about 25 or 26 minutes to do. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to select all our channels that we want. And you don't have to select them all. You could selectively leave some out. But we're going to select the ones we want to keep. And then we're going to hit this button down here called Add Selected. And that moves them over here. And so these are the channels that we're going to be able to view. And it's very important to hit this OK, because if you don't do that, you'll have to go through this whole process all again. Anyway, so if we want to go ahead and start watching a channel here, let's say we want to watch, let me go ahead and expand this out here. So let's say we want to watch, well, I don't know, how about this one here. And we have no sound. And the reason why we don't, let's go ahead and stop it here, is because if we go to it's got the AV jack selected rather than the HDMI. Now we go ahead and change it here, and then it will start playing. But actually, what I found is that doesn't work for everything. So we really actually have to go into the Raspberry Pi configuration and change our sound card to use the HDMI output instead. Well, it turned out I still had issues with the sound cutting out sometimes. Not so much with the DVR software, that's pretty stable now. But when I try to use a VLC player, sometimes it would try to come out the analog audio output jack rather than the HDMI. And see, like right there, it's on the analog output. And so we're just going to have to completely disable this AV jack altogether so it consistently comes out the HDMI port. So let me go ahead and bring my documentation up here, and then let's bring up a terminal window. And let's go ahead and enter this one right here, enter our config text in our boot directory. And we're going to go down here, and we got this line right here, and this enables the analog audio output, basically this term right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change that. We're just going to comment out that statement, and that will completely disable the analog output, which we never use anyway in this particular application. Okay, so let's go ahead and Control X. We want to modify that, write it, and then we're going to reboot our Pi. And we're going to wait for it to come back online. Pi is back online, so let's go ahead and go to the Pi here. Let's right click on our speaker, and now we see our only sound option we could select is HDMI. So that should correct that problem with our sound going away and switching over to that analog output jack. So now that we have our DVR software installed on our Pi, let's go ahead and install minidlna so we can stream our videos to any Rokus that we have in the house. So we'll go ahead and do a sudo app update and a sudo app upgrade first. No updates, but if there were, we go ahead and do a sudo app upgrade. And then we'll install minidlna with sudo app install minidlna. And it's installed. So now let's go make a backup of our minidlna configuration file. In case we screw it up, we can restore it. And then we'll go ahead and edit our minidlna configuration file. And so what we want to do is we want to replace this right here, this line. We want to replace that with this right here. So we'll go over here, comment out that line, and then add these lines. And basically all we're doing here is we're changing the directory that minidlna uses for its media files from Pi's internal flash storage to our USB drive. And so as you can see, I've put it in the same directory as our DVR files are stored, media/NAS/videos. And then I got these other two commented out fields. If you want to specify different directories for your video, audio, and picture files, you can do that. You can comment those out and put those in different directories if you want. So the next thing we need to do is we need to scroll down here to the friendly name here and just name it something else. And so let's scroll down here. Friendly name, here it is right here. So we go ahead and uncomment that. And we're going to call it Pi_DVR. You can name that anything you want. That's just what I did. And so we'll hit Control X and save it and hit enter, and that's done. Now the next thing we need to do is modify our systemd minidlna service file. So same thing here, we'll make a backup of it first, just in case we need to refer to it. And then we'll go ahead and edit this service file. Systemd service file, that is. And so what we need to do here is all we need to do to this is on this line right here, the after equals, we need to add the name of our NAS drive so that we can, so that this service won't start until our USB drive is booted fully and attached. So let's go over here, paste that in after here. And again, if what you found with that unit description before, if you got a different name, you'll put that name in here instead. Okay, go ahead and save this, hit Control X. Yes, we want to save the modified file, and we'll just save it, hit enter to save it back where it was. And then we need to reload our daemons, so we'll go ahead and do that here. And then we need to restart minidlna. That will activate it. And then let's go ahead and check the status. And it is active and running. Doesn't look like we got any errors. If you had a permission problems with your USB drive, you'll see an error message here where it could not attach to your storage device, but we don't have that, so it should be there. To confirm that, we can just bring up a web browser and just go to the IP address of our Pi on port 8200. And there it is. It says minidlna. We have 3 video files, and it looks like it's running. So one of the issues you will find you have when you try to play your DVR files on a Roku is they may not play very well. You definitely won't be able to scan fast forward and back with them on the Roku, and lower resolution files in particular you'll probably find will have choppy audio on them. And the way you can fix that is you have to convert the files from an MPEG 2 format over to an MP4 format. Over-the-air broadcast, they broadcast in MPEG-2 format, and for some reason the Roku just cannot play those files very well. So the way you do that is you SSH into your Pi, which I've already done here, and then you'll go to your video directory right here. And then we'll do a listing on that. And you see I have a couple of recordings here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this ABC World News Tonight MPEG-2 format, and we're going to convert it to an MPEG-2. So I have that right here. Let me copy that and paste that here. And so it's converting, and you can see it's actually doing it pretty quick. It's doing it about a 30 times rate, so it won't take as long to convert as it did to take to record the program. But it will take a while, so I'm going to pause the video here until it's done. So the conversion's done now. You can see there were several corrupt packets. I'm not sure what causes that, but I haven't noticed any adverse effects. It actually did convert it to an MPEG-4 format. And let's go ahead and do a listing here. And you will see that there it is right there. So I could go ahead and start Kaffeine here. And there we go. And we could go ahead and we could say, go over here and say open. And so there it's listed, so I can go ahead and click it. And you'll see it's playing here, and we can actually scan through it here very easy. And the Roku will play it now. So if you want to play these files on a Roku, what I recommend that you do is that you set up a cron job to convert all the files over to an MPEG-4 format, and then you'll be able to use them seamlessly on your Roku devices. Well, that's basically it. Your Raspberry Pi should be able to now record and play back TV recordings. Overall, I've been very happy with the way Kaffeine works. Definitely a lot better than some other DVRs I've owned. So I hope you have a similar experience. Of course, like and subscribe if you found the video useful. And until the next time I make a video, you have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.